Welcome to Food Rebels. This is the show that keeps you up to date with the best food and drink brands who are doing things a little bit differently. We love a rebel. This week, it's the last show before Christmas. And basically, we're having a bit of a party here in the studio. As it's the last week, we've cracked open the cocktails, mince pies. We've been playing Mariah Carey. We've got all things tips and tricks and traditions. I'm AJ, the show host, taste expert, food writer, blah, 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 business owner. But mainly, really, at this time of year, I'm a mum to two children who are like insanely excited at the moment, plus a couple of dogs. One's a puppy. It's a nightmare. Generally, I'm late or I'm in a rush or I'm trying to fit things in or retrofit things into the past that I didn't actually do. So I've got two experts in the studio today, and we're going to talk about how we can cheat at Christmas. I've invited Eloise Huntley, who I met before when I was hosting the food talk show. Eloise was running a bakery called Elle's Bells. Welcome, Els.
Thank you for having me back.
You're soon to be joining King Cookery School, is that right?
I am, yes. I'm putting my pastry chef skills to the test and I'm going to be a chef lecturer there.
Excellent. And we've got a very special guest, our Food Rebels producer, Georgie Parsons, who is somebody who is usually the other side of the screen to where we are now. She has actually worked for many years for one of the leading food catering events companies in London, name of which I completely forgot. What was it called?
Lettuce Events.
And she's flown all over the world curating these incredible events. So we were like, let's pick her brains because she is so good at this. So welcome, Georgie.
Thanks very much. Thank you for having me.
So we are basically having a massive party. The table in front of us is absolutely groaning with food and drink. I'm going to need you guys to say as many different brand names of different cheat items that you have that you can think of, because I've got a pen handy and literally this is writing my Christmas shop, which I, of course, have not done yet. Are you hosting this year, Georgie?
Do you know what? We're actually away for Christmas this year. It's the first time
Cheating.
we've gone away. I know. So we are. I'm totally cheating. I'm the biggest cheat of all because I'm actually not doing anything.
Well, this is like the show's done then, isn't it?
Exactly.
Like, this is how you cheat.
Exactly. Go away and then you don't have to do anything. But normally, I do love to host. I love to host a Christmas.
And knowing you, you're probably still hosting a number of events over the Christmas period.
Well, New Year's Eve is still there, isn't it? So,
Oh, yeah.
I have to say, I love to do the prepping ahead cheats. That's my go-to.
And Els, I just wanted to find out what your Christmas looks like, because you've just got married, haven't you? To the lovely Alex.
Yes.
Hence your name is now Huntley, not Hale.
Yes, so last time I was here, I was Eloise Hale. Now I'm Eloise Huntley. This is actually our first year hosting Christmas ourselves.
How many people have you got?
Very easy. There's 5 of us, so it's not too chaotic. But we are going from usually doing it at my mum's house, where she's got 2 ovens, a warming drawer, 7-ring hob, whole shebang. We have 1 tiny oven, 2 hobs and an air fryer. Going to be a challenge, but we're going to give it a go. And I love hosting, so I'm excited.
So with 5, are you going to do a turkey? Or are you going to do a crown? Or what are you thinking?
We're going crown. We're going to order a crown. We're going to keep it nice and easy. It says about 8 people, so we'll have a little bit of leftover for a sandwich the next day kind of thing, but we're not going all out turkey this year.
My biggest bugbear is how people overcook the turkey so much.
Yeah.
I remember last year I was, my dad had bought the turkey and he was panicking in the morning about when this turkey was going to go on. He's like, it needs at least 4 hours. And I was like, nothing needs 4 hours if it's a poultry item. Yeah, I kind of really like to go under than over because I find it gets too dry.
I agree. And then you leave it sitting because everyone's had a few drinks and they're all faffing around going to the loo because they all know they're going to go and sit down for about 2 hours.
And then it carries on
And
cooking.
it carries on
anyway,
cooking, doesn't it?
Under the foil. You're meant to let it rest, aren't you, anyway, for at least half an hour. So,
What's the rule of thumb? I don't even know that.
how long to let it rest?
Yeah.
Well, at least half an hour.
Should it?
Yeah.
Okay. And it will keep cooking.
Yeah.
So you want to take it out when it's
you layer
just...
it all up with foil.
Yeah.
And then it will that obviously will carry on cooking it through. So you really, really want to just get it, on that point where it's not turned yet. That it's kind of overcooked. But
I think we're going for more like 45 minutes to an hour just to give us the oven space. Because the sooner the turkey comes out, the sooner everything else can go in.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right, before we get into the depths of the main event, I wanted to talk about aperitifs and arriving and how do we do that? Most of the time people start with a bottle of champagne or something, but you can't just drink champagne because you end up with indigestion, certainly if you're over 40. What is a better idea? I already know the answer because it's all over the table in front of me. We have got the most incredible cheat for you, which is the Fever Tree. Can you describe these?
Well, they're pre-mixed cocktails. So you don't have to do any of the hard work with the juicing of the limes, getting all the
cocktail mixes,
all the
aren't
cocktail
they?
mixed together. And the best bit is you just add your spirit.
Yeah.
Or if someone who's not drinking, you can just literally, they still taste delicious on their own. So some of them, so we've got a classic margarita mixer, which you can put over a cocktail shaker. You can shake it in anything.
Yeah.
You said you can use a Tupperware box if you've got one, just anything that's watertight. And you just pour it in and then pour it into your glasses. And the mojito here is sparkling. So you don't shake that one up. You just pour over a glass of ice with some rum.
It's perfect, isn't it? Because most people have got, I've got a kind of drinks cabinet with a few dusty old bottles of, I've got the drinks that we drink all the time that we love. And there's 2 or 3 spirit bottles at the front, whiskey for my husband, gin for me. And then we've got all the sort of dusty bottles at the back that we don't really drink very often. But I love the idea that for not very much money, you can get these gorgeous Fever Tree kind of cocktail mixers. And all you have to do is just grab a bottle of spirit from the back of the cupboard, make up these things, and they look amazing.
Yeah. And, a quick garnish and they look professional.
Yeah.
And they taste delicious. Why don't we have a go at tasting the margarita mix first,
yes.
which is the one down here. I love a margarita. I love tequila.
So citrusy.
And I will happily actually just drink tequila on its own like you would a whiskey.
It's mouth-watering. There's so like a real zest of lime and tequila-y notes.
I think I love that for us because I'm the non-drinker of the family, often looked down upon by my parents and siblings that something went wrong, that I just don't drink alcohol. And so for me, having that means I can do an alcoholic version for them, non-alcoholic for me, and not feel like I'm left out sitting at the kiddie table.
Exactly.
We're all kind of doing the same thing, but
still
just
have the
tailor
garnish,
it.
you can still
Exactly.
have-
And you can still have the sexy glass because sometimes it's like, oh, you're not drinking. Here's a pint glass with some squash
Yeah.
in it. And you're a bit like, can I have the sexy glass, please? It's
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Throwbacks to being a child with a wine glass of Coke, just so I could feel like I've joined in with the adults. So now I can actually join in, which is nice.
Exactly. And I do this with my kids. So on a Friday night we'll have cocktail night and I'll use the Fever Tree mixer and they'll have the non-alcoholic one. And
Oh, do they?
Yeah, and then we have the
The alcoholic
tequila-
version, I'm
tequila version.
guessing.
yeah.
What I love is the depth of flavour that you get with these cocktail mixers. And there are a number of different brands out there. And, some of them I like, some of them I don't. But I really like the Fever Tree ones. I really love the depth of flavour. They've worked really hard to make it taste so authentic straight out of the bottle.
That doesn't taste like sort of lime flavour. It tastes like
It's
actual fresh
actual
lime juice.
Yeah. And actually when because I do also make margarita from scratch, but the amount of limes you need as well is actually quite intense. You're squeezing a lot of limes just to get a couple of drinks. So to be able to do that is so much simpler.
It's amazing. And what's this other one here?
So that one is the mojito, which is super simple because you don't even need a cocktail shaker for this one. Tumbler full of ice.
It's
Then you
made with ice as well.
and then you just put in your rum.
Nothing
Mojito
like
mixer.
rum on a Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, and if you think actually, when to make a mojito, you've got to, what is that word? Dabble the ice, dabble the sugar
Oh, yeah.
with a dabbler.
I know what you mean.
Muddle.
A muddle. That's it. Not dabble. A muddler.
Sort of silently waiting to.
You were doing the hand gesture. I knew exactly what you
I know
meant.
what you're talking about. Right? Muddle. That's it. Muddle. So you've got to muddle the ice, the ice sugar cube. Sorry, and then you have. There's quite a few different steps going on. So to be able to just pour that out straight away is
Absolutely delicious. I've just taken 2 huge gulps of that and
So
realised
fresh.
I've got to drive home, so I'm going to stop. It's really fresh. The mint,
yeah.
you have to look back and think, it tastes like it's got completely fresh mint in there. It's obviously
Exactly.
been made with real mint, hasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, actually, I totally agree. The mint is really coming through.
I mean, for me, this is just such an elegant cheat. This is the sort of like, oh my goodness, how on earth have you had time to make cocktails? Oh, well, I just whipped these old things up and they taste insane. And this one, what's this?
So this one is the espresso martini. Yeah. So this
Hello.
one you do need to shake over ice and then pour. Again, this has got vodka in it. This one,
So you just add vodka, that's it.
just add vodka.
And what are the measures? You just do a measure of vodka for, does it say on the back? Is it literally as easy as that?
It says pour 50 ml of your favourite vodka and 100 ml of this mixer into a shaker. Lots of ice, shake vigorously, and then strain.
Beautiful aroma of coffee has just entered the studio, hasn't it?
Oh, wow. That's lovely.
I mean, for me, an espresso martini, I don't always have it as the aperitif. I know some people do. I would tend to have that at the end of the meal instead of a coffee, where you sort of go tea, coffee, espresso martini. And that's where everyone goes, oh, yes, I will have one of those. Thank you.
Yeah, because actually, I mean, normally to make an espresso martini, you need Kahlua.
Kahlua.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
And coffee and all that kind of stuff. So actually, again, it's so simple because you're not having to have all these other ingredients sitting in the back of your cupboard.
And again, you just whip it up at the end of the meal. All you need is some sexy looking glasses, TK Maxx, and a bottle of that. Yeah. I mean, this will make how many? It makes 5 cocktails. So 2 bottles of that for your dinner party, depending on
the size of your dinner party.
the size, or one. And you just chuck some vodka in. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely delicious. Right, cool. We've got drinks sorted. What are we going to have with our drinks?
So I was thinking about a canapé that I like to do. That is quick, easy, you can make it in advance, but also not too expensive. And the classic smoked salmon Bellini is basically a twist on a smoked salmon Bellini.
It's one of my faves, though. You can't beat it.
I know, but I also feel like it's been so overdone.
Well, that is true.
So I grew up in Russia, and Christmas time to me is caviar. We used to have lots of caviar, and
we had different upbringings.
Well, it wasn't a big thing. That was just generally what they ate.
Because it was so widely available.
It was so widely available. Anyway, so I did get quite a taste for caviar. But as you know now, if you try and buy caviar, it is actually, it can be very expensive. Apart from, they now have in Waitrose or in other supermarkets other caviars. Now, this is a lumpfish caviar, and a pot is £4.50, and it will do loads of canapés. So rather than the smoked salmon, which you can get a small packet
for £4.50,
for £5 or £6, you're going to have quite a few packets for those to do any amount of canapés. So this one, normally with caviar, you serve it on bellinis. You have bellinis, not necessarily the mini ones, actually quite big ones, and then you have egg, you have raw onion, and you have something called smetana, which is a Russian sour cream. It doesn't taste like the sour cream you can get here. It's actually almost more like a creme fraiche, but it's super beautiful. But because you can't really get it over here, I've actually changed it and put it with some Philadelphia, and that binds the egg together, so it stays beautifully on top. So this is
a boiled egg, Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I was watching you making this as we were coming in, and you just mushed it all up with a fork, didn't you?
And a little squeeze of lemon, and then the caviar on top in it. And here we go, you have a taste.
Oh.
And
you chopped up a red onion. I can see that in there.
Red onion. The red onion really cuts through the kind of almost creaminess of the cream cheese, but I really, really want to get people into caviar because it's so delicious and it doesn't have to break the bank. Wow. And then if you've got any left over, it's so beautiful on scrambled eggs as well the next morning, or I just eat it out of the pot.
I'm glad you're still talking because I've just got a mouthful of food. Oh my goodness, this is absolutely insane. So delicious.
Well, it's just a bit different, isn't it? Because I think sometimes you can get a bit stuck with your canapes and things, and you can boil the eggs a couple of days before. It literally takes 2 seconds to whip up, and it will stay in the fridge until you're ready. And then I always like to heat and these are shop bought pancakes as well. These are not. I didn't make these blinis. These you buy them in a packet, heat them up quickly in either in the oven or on your frying pan, and you're ready to go. And
that is amazing. What about canapes in your house? I mean, we go for the brown bread, thick butter, smoked salmon agenda most of the time. This is much more exciting. What do you do?
I feel like semi-controversial now. Come from not much of a canapé household. We're more of a Twiglets and cheesy footballs household. We buy the tubes every Christmas. They get put out in a nice dish, little selection. Basically, our canapés are variations of crisp.
Lovely.
We just love every seasonal one that the supermarket will bring out. We'll do a whole selection of those, and everyone can just come and pick and graze and go to town. But I think because we go quite hard on the dinner, we don't really want to fill up on anything else beforehand.
Yeah.
We don't even do a starter. I know quite a lot of people.
Okay, so interesting. So I'd like to find out what is your like Christmas day look like? Because I think everyone's Christmas day looks so different, don't they? And that's what marrying into another family that's the biggest thing. Is like,
It's such a cultural change. Like, what are you doing?
why do you have you do it like this? We've done it like this all our lives. So it'll be lovely. How does your day look?
Oh, our day. So ours starts with, even though I am now in my late 20s and my brother is 30, we still do stockings. That's got to be done. And we'll usually get a bit of chocolate in there. And again, late 20s, but it's become tradition. I have to ask mum for permission to have some chocolate at breakfast time. I'm sufficiently living alone adult, but I still ask my mum for permission. We'll sort of tuck into that. Generally, the Bucks Fizz comes out pretty early on in the day. We don't really wait for an acceptable time. Pyjamas on, Bucks Fizz.
Totally agree.
Yeah. And then we'll have a sort of mid-level breakfast, nothing too crazy, a bit of toast, maybe some eggs, something, just, line you up for the day.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably, do presents, do a little bit of get by the fire, probably sit down to eat at about 3. So we just tend to graze, hence the crisps, as they go out nice and early, graze throughout the morning into midday, and then full on Christmas dinner around 3 o'clock, and then sort of, lounging on the sofa, barely functioning by 5.
Yeah. I mean,
and then continue to graze until at some point someone says, probably you should go to bed now.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much the thing. I think our day revolves around food quite a lot. So we just like to pick and graze and just relax, really. Nothing too crazy. We don't have young kids, so there's no children around. It's all just adults.
Well, even if you do have young kids, last year I forgot to give them lunch.
Did you?
We got way too into the Bucks Fizz, and it got to all the adults were having such a lovely time, and the kids were running off with their cousins, and it got to about 3:30, and the kids were like, "We're really hungry." I was like, "Oh, we've just drunk our way through lunch, and just completely missed everything." And now you can wait because we do the late afternoon, because otherwise I have to get up so early and get everything prepped, and I just like to be able to slightly chill out and then get the turkey on about 1, 2, and sit down about 4. Same kind of thing. But you have a great way of doing it, AJ, because
we've always done it. Comes from my mum's side of the family. A ham, the Christmas ham, is had cold on Christmas Day morning with really fresh bread and salad cream.
Salad.
Oh,
how weird is that?
That is weird.
I don't think the salad cream was my mum's addition. I think she's quite disdainful of the salad cream, actually. But my dad likes salad cream, so we've carried on that tradition.
Okay, so we're thinking thick cut ham.
Yep.
In a white sandwich.
Sort of. You just sort of have one slice of bread and you sort of eat the two together. It's like an open sandwich.
Oh, okay.
And then that's at like 8:45. Oh, the children have obviously woken me at 5 in the morning, jumped on the bed, opened all the presents, shouted in my face and eaten every single last piece of chocolate that they have. Then we have church, which is usually at 9:30. Actually, where we've just moved to, it's at 10 o'clock, much more respectable.
Yeah.
We may walk the dogs at this point, because if you don't, the rest of the day is completely insane.
Out. Yeah.
And then we eat at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And again, so during the day, it's this sort of bits of smoked salmon on bread.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore. I'm going to up level. And cocktails and or champagne and or whatever.
Yeah,
and then at 5 o'clock, we'll sit down and eat kind of big Sunday roast.
Lovely.
But I really, really despise turkey. So I've got to stop cooking a turkey and actually cook like a fillet of beef, which I really love.
That is really interesting. But it's slightly inbuilt in us, isn't it? It's almost ingrained that you kind of need to have the turkey, otherwise it's not Christmas.
I know. Well, my dad absolutely loved the turkey, and he very sadly passed just before Christmas last year, and we had the turkey in his honour, and then I was like, oh Lord, we're going to have turkey now forever, just out of love for Dad. So it's always going to be turkey now.
I really love turkey.
Do you?
Yeah.
Genuinely
really love it.
What is it
and
about
I
it?
love the leftovers as well. So I love a turkey curry. I love, all the turkey coronation. I was going to say turkey coronation chicken. Coronation turkey. I do. I really like it. So I actually makes me think, why do I only do this once a year, like a whole turkey? But no, I don't know whether you can get them.
It's a giant meal, isn't it?
Exactly.
And I suppose, so my cheat for Christmas Day lunch is I always find the gravy's the last thing, or it becomes the big thing. Yeah. You've taken the chicken out, you've taken the turkey out, and you're doing that whole thing where you're trying to rest it. You're also trying to get the kids to lay the table, or you're trying to get somebody to help, and you've probably had more glasses of wine than you would normally in this situation. You're boiling vegetables.
Try not to make them go over.
You're trying not to make them go over. Yeah. My trick here instead of trying to do something really clever with the gravy, is borough broth.
Okay.
Have you ever come across borough broth? It's like it's a stock. It's borough broth. It's amazing. And I brought in a little cup for everyone to try it. The one we're actually trying today is not the chicken one, which is what I'd recommend on Christmas Day. It's the lamb one. But it's absolutely delicious.
So do you just heat this up and serve it as a gravy, or do you add stuff to it?
No, I add stuff to it. So I
you
use
add it to your pan
Exactly.
to deglaze.
Exactly.
underneath the
So
pan and then
take the meat out of the pan, filter out any really obvious fat, but keep the juices. And then I would put the borough broth in the pan to deglaze it exactly as you say and lift up all the nice little juicy bits.
So you're basically oomping up your already, your juices with the delicious broth.
With something really delicious. And it means you can filter out more of the fat without worrying too much that you're losing some of the good bits because you're going to put them back.
Yeah.
And so often people go, gosh, this gravy is amazing. Thanks very much. I did not make it myself.
Well, you did.
Some of it.
You cheated.
Some of it.
But it's absolutely delicious. I totally agree. That's a lovely way of bulking up your gravy as well. Because also, if you've got lots of people, sometimes it doesn't quite stretch to where you want it to go.
Exactly.
So that is a really lovely. And actually, I know you said this is not the chicken one, but the lamb one is.
So rich, isn't it?
Really nice. Really nice. Yeah, we have a real debate in our household over thick or thin gravy.
Oh, I think it's got to be thick enough that you can see it's there. I don't like thin gravy, not too thin.
I'm a mid, I think.
A mid.
Not too thick. I don't want it to sort of gloop onto the plate, but then I don't want it to be like water either. I want it to sort of adhere to the food and not be swimming in the bottom when it's done. But just a nice glaze of gravy, yeah, mid gravy for me. Unless I am using it, this might sound controversial, as a dip. Because
What?
So you mentioned...
Well, like a chip and gravy scenario.
Kind of. You mentioned leftovers and you do a curry.
Okay,
So about 2 or 3 years ago, we started a new family tradition that we don't do leftover sandwiches on Boxing Day. We do pizzas. So we make pizza bases. Sometimes I'll make them from scratch. Sometimes I'll just buy a base. And we use all the leftovers and we all top our own pizza. So we line it all up in the kitchen. Everyone has their own little station. And so we'll go some pancetta, some sprouts, bit of turkey, potatoes, all over it. And then when
With
it's
tomato
done,
sauce?
we leave the tomato... Oh, actually, now I've got to remind myself.
Based.
No, it's very thin tomato base, just to kind of bring some moisture in there, but not to kind of overpower the flavour.
Like a Pritt stick.
Just to kind of keep it all on there. But then when we're done, you go to eat your pizza, crusts in the gravy as a little gravy dip.
I love that idea because
Game changer.
You also have so much leftover cheese,
Yeah.
so you can grate all your cheese over the top as well.
Yeah, absolute game changer. Highly recommend it. And it's a nice activity for Boxing Day when you're sort of sat there going, what do we do now? Just watch another version of The Royal Family and another rerun of Strictly at Christmas. We all get up for about an hour and everyone joins in the kitchen and we all make a different pizza, and people always go overboard on the toppings and it falls apart sometimes, but that's part of the fun.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that one on board actually, because that really would get the kids involved as well. I mean, who's kidding? There's no gonna be no Brussels sprouts on top of theirs, but
And you can buy the bases frozen. So again, nice, quick, cheap. You haven't got to buy fresh bread to make sandwiches and have to actually buy it on the 23rd and hope it's still good by the 26th. Frozen pizza base, job done.
done. Oh, that's amazing. Moving on now, we do have all these mince pies sitting in front of us to taste. Now, controversially, you guys don't like mince pies, I heard.
I am weird with mince pies. I'm weird with them. You know, whenever you go to a drinks party and everyone's like, mince pie, and you're like, seriously? No. Why a mince pie?
Because they're amazing. That is why. And I eat them from the moment they come out in the shops.
Do you actually?
Totally.
Are you there in
Totally.
like August?
Yeah.
Buying mince
Yeah.
pies?
We get super excited. They're in the shops. Yeah.
So what are the different brands you brought in here? Because let's taste
Well,
them
I
all.
think you're going to have to taste them first and give me your opinion on them first, and then we'll talk about
Do you know which is which?
Yes.
Amazing. Yes, of course. So we've got a number here, haven't we? We've got probably 4 or 5 different varieties.
And Els, do you want to explain about yours?
Yes, so same as AJ, not a mince pie.
And free one.
No, this is a Mr. Kipling one.
It's quite pretty, isn't it? Because it doesn't have a lid on it. Quite sweet.
It's got a star, snowflake.
Like a snowflake on the top. Quite like that one.
Actually, for people who don't like so much pastry, I think that is a good alternative.
It's like a big cup, a sort of mince pie cup rather than a pie. Technically not a pie since it's not covered.
More of a tart, really, isn't it?
This one looks...
It's a Tesco Finest one.
This is Tesco Finest,
Yeah.
okay. Really flowery.
It's a bit claggy, isn't it?
Very, very sweet.
I'm also
Yes.
not sure on the spices there.
Oh, no.
I wouldn't.
Not keen on that one.
I'm not keen on that one either. Right, the next one is actually a plant-based.
This one's plant-based.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So no suet. Nice pastry. Thin pastry that you kind of crunch through in a really delicate
That one's
way.
got much more spices in it.
What plant-based?
That's Tesco's
Tesco's plant-based.
plant-based one.
Quite
That's
like
really
that.
good. I'd definitely buy the Tesco plant-based over,
the Finest.
the Finest,
Yeah,
for
I
sure.
would too.
I didn't find that claggy in the
No.
same way that the Finest one was.
The Finest one stuck to your mouth. You know.
Yeah, I agree.
And then we've got two more here. I'm really making you...
I know, I'm loving it. It's like a mince pie graveyard over here. Right, which one next?
So this is a gluten-free.
Is this the open-topped one? It's another, like, mince pie case with a star on top.
Yeah.
Definitely a different texture to the pastry,
Because of the gluten-free-ness of it.
but not bad. Nice filling.
I was going to say, I quite like the filling in that one.
I think the filling's really well done. I like that. It's the filling that makes that one more than
I'm
the pastry.
turning you around. Look, you see, you're going to come round to the mince pies.
Yeah,
I can't
maybe.
say I won't be starting in August with you, though. I think I'll still at least wait till November.
I was quite proud of myself last year that I'd managed to get through the whole of Christmas and only eaten one. And it was only because I did it out of politeness because I didn't feel I could say no to someone.
It's a mince pie peer pressure, I think.
Yeah.
You turn up to someone's house and they go, I've made mince pies. And you go, oh, great.
Hooray! And then this last one with it
This last one is the Waitrose Organic.
was just a Dutchy.
It is Dutchy.
So the pastry's got more density than any of the others we've tasted.
So this one is much crispier.
It's more like a shortbread than
And
a
I
pastry.
actually really like the way it is. Yeah, it's more like a shortbread. And the filling's not too sweet either.
It's not, but there's a huge gap at the top between the
Yeah.
filling and the.
Yours does look a huge gap. That's true.
So I feel a little bit like I've been shortchanged there.
Changed on the mincemeat.
I think my favourite filling was the Sue's gluten-free one. But I think my favourite actual tasting one was the Mr. Kip thing,
I was just about to say the same thing.
which I feel like horrified that I'm saying because I feel like I should be picking a much posher brand.
Well, that's really interesting. I'm going to taste that one again.
I quite like that one.
It is a really nice filling, I have to say.
This is where we discover that we've like mixed them up or something.
No, we really haven't. No. I do agree that Mr. Kipling one is actually very nice. I do also really like the crispiness of the Waitrose Dutch Organic one, though. I think it's quite different. It's a little bit different to what the clagginess of the other ones.
Yeah. I also just like the addition of the little sprinkle of Demerara sugar on the Waitrose one because it gives that extra little crunch that the other ones don't have.
Exactly.
Guys, I can't believe it, but we are out of time. Even though we've made this into an extra long episode, we are out of time. Out of extra time, I'm afraid. Really big thank you to Eloise Huntley and Georgie Parsons for coming on the show. I hope this has helped you with your Christmas planning, given you some tips and ideas. Thank you for joining us. Merry Christmas. You've been listening to Food Rebels, which is available on radio stations around the UK. You can also listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify and Audible. Please remember to subscribe and rate us 5 stars, please. It makes a huge difference to our podcast. Thank you for joining us and make sure you taste the rebellion.